So in this video, we're actually solving linear equations with a little bit slightly different method possibly. So the biggest thing to remember before we begin is what a term is. Well, first off, a term is composed of possibly a number called a coefficient, a variable, or some combination thereof, like 2a is a term, 3b is a term, 4c is a term, 5d is a term. So we have 4 terms here. And the first thing we really need to understand is when solving these equations, we move things by doing opposites. So if we're going to move a term from one side of the equal sign, now we've got like a line here. If we want to move a term from one side of that line to the other side, we simply do what its opposite is. If a term is positive and we move it to the other side, it becomes a negative. If a term's a negative and we want to move it to the other side for some reason, it becomes a positive. Now that 2a was already positive, so when I moved the 5d over there, minus 5d became positive 5d. So that it's as simple as that. Any term can move from one side of the equal sign to the other side of the equal sign by changing a plus to a minus and a minus to a plus. So if I wanted to move everything over, 2a would become minus 2a, plus 3b would become minus 3b, and all of a sudden now you have nothing left on that side. So moving terms, whole terms, moving terms, we simply change pluses to minuses, minuses to plus. Now, if we want to move partial terms, what if we wanted to get to b by itself and move only the 3? Now, we'll talk about that in just a second. That's a little bit different. So, solving our first equation, let's give that a shot now. So, if we want to solve this linear equation, first step is always remove parentheses. And we remove parentheses with things, with a property that we've used many times in the past, and that's called distributive property. So in order to get rid of these parentheses, this positive 3 out front, we're simply going to multiply by everything. We're going to distribute times everything inside parentheses. Everything else is staying the same. So 3 times 4x gives us a 12x. Make sure you always put your pluses and minuses so we don't get confused. A positive 3 times a negative 1 will be a negative 3. Equals, same thing with a 5. Distributive property, make sure you multiply by everything in parentheses. So we now have a 10x. And 5 times a negative 3. And again, if you want to put a plus there, you could. 5 times negative 3 would be a negative 15. And negative 7x and positive 1 stays the same. Now, with the method that I'm kind of going through and showing you here is next step. And all in one step, I'm going to put all my like terms together. 2x, 12x, I can already put those together. But this 10x and this minus 7x is on the other side. In order to put them together with these other x's, I'm going to have to move them to that side. And I don't care where you write them. You can write them anywhere. That positive 10x is going to become a negative 10x. That minus 7x is going to be a plus 7x. Now, all of those terms we can put together. They're all on the same side, and they're all to where they can be combined. Now, the rest of the terms, I'll put in a different color. This minus 15 and this minus 1 and this minus 3. That's your other like terms. Those don't have x's. So all we're going to do in order to combine those, this minus 3, I'm going to put over here with these other ones by doing plus 3. And now all my green terms there are on the same side. So the rule is we want all of our x's, or all of our variables on one side, and all of our non-x's, or all of our numbers on the other side. It doesn't matter which one you put on which side, but that's what we want. So now all my x's are now going to combine. I have 2x's, 12x's. That's 14. I'm going to add these 7 other ones. That's 21 and minus 10. That's going to give me 11 x's. Put your equal sign back in there. The negative 15, the positive 3, and the positive 1, it doesn't matter what order you combine them in. I'm going to do 3 and 1 is 4. Negative 11 and 4, or excuse me, negative 15 and 4 is negative 11. And then the very last term, or excuse me, very last step, we're no longer trying to move a term. We now want to move a partial term. We want to move just the 11. And again, to move things, we always do opposites. Since 11 is being multiplied by x, we're going to mark it out. And instead of multiplying, we're going to move to the other side by dividing. So we now have x equals negative 11 over 11. Now, how we treat this is if it's a fraction that won't actually divide, we're just going to reduce it. You can change it to a decimal. I've always felt like it's a little bit cleaner as a fraction. If it is divisible, like in this case, negative 11 divided by 11, we just divide it, and we're finished. So again, divide it if you can. If you can't divide it, try to reduce it. If you can't reduce it, you can leave it. And that's how you solve linear equations. Now here we have a proportion. A proportion is a special type of linear equation, but just showing you that what we're talking about applies to any of these. Now, before you go into solving linear equations, the first step here, since the whole side is being divided by 7, remember what I said, in order to move things, we do opposites. So division by 7, I'm going to go to this other side, and I'm going to multiply by 7. In the same step, why not go ahead, since this is divided by 3, go to this other side and multiply by 3. So then we have those parentheses we've been talking about, and make sure you do put those in parentheses. So we're going to use that distributive property. 3 times 2x and negative 3. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times a negative 3 is a negative 9. And again, like I said, if you want to put pluses and minuses on both of them, it really doesn't matter. 5 times 7x is a positive 35x. I'm just doing this to try to reiterate the fact that you need signs there. You need to know their signs. 7 times a positive 1 is a positive 7. Now look at your like terms. We have 6x's here and 35x's here. And just to show you from the previous example, it doesn't matter which side you put it in, put them on. I'm going to move my plus 6x over here by doing minus 6x. You can put them on the right side if you want to. And now all my blue terms are on the right side. The positive 7, since it's like terms with that 9 on the other side, I'm going to move it over there by doing minus 7. And now you've got all those non-x terms together. Next step is actually combine them. Negative 9, negative 7 is a negative 16. 35x's minus 6x's is your 29x's. And then you have this last step to where you don't want to move the whole term. You only want to move the 29. Since those are being multiplied, we're going to do the opposite of that. We're going to divide by 29. We try to divide it. It's going to be a decimal if you divided it. Since it won't divide, we're going to reduce it. It won't even reduce. So that's finished. Negative 16/29 would be your answer.